Nico stood at the edge of the dense jungle, wiping sweat from his forehead. The sun was high, and the heat pressed down on him like a heavy blanket. He looked at the thick green trees stretching as far as the eye could see. This was a planet no one had visited before, and every leaf, every sound, was new. Birds with glowing feathers flew past, and strange insects buzzed in patterns that made Nico curious. He could feel the excitement in the air, but there was also something mysterious, almost magical, about this place. The small ship that had brought Nico and his team, a sleek silver craft named Horizon, was parked on a flat clearing. Inside, the crew packed their gear and checked their supplies. The team was small but skilled. Nico trusted each of them. There was Rena, who loved maps and puzzles. Omar, who could fix anything and always carried a toolkit. And Jara, who was strong and brave, and never backed down from danger. Together, they had faced storms on distant planets, sandstorms on dry moons, and icy comets, but something about this jungle felt different. Nico walked slowly through the thick grass, his boots sinking slightly with each step. He noticed strange carvings on the large stones scattered around the clearing. They looked ancient, with patterns of animals and shapes he had never seen before. Some stones showed jaguar-like figures, strong and fierce, with eyes that seemed to glow in the sunlight. Nico crouched and traced one with his finger. The carvings were not random. They told a story from a time long ago. "Look at this," Nico called to his team. "These carvings, they mean something. They are like a map, or a warning." Rena came closer, her eyes wide with excitement. "I think you are right. There are symbols here I have never seen in any archive. This could be the discovery of a lifetime." Omar smiled and tapped his tool against his hand. "I hope this discovery doesn't fight back," he said with a laugh, but even he looked a little nervous. The jungle was alive with strange sounds, chirps, growls, and whispers of wind through the giant leaves. It made every step feel like a test. As they moved deeper into the jungle, the trees grew taller and closer together. Sunlight barely reached the ground, and vines hung like curtains from the branches above. Suddenly, Jara stopped and raised her hand. "Over there," she whispered. Nico followed her gaze and saw a massive stone structure partially hidden by vines and moss. The temple was enormous, with steps leading up to a tall entrance carved into the stone. At the top, a jaguar figure was etched into the wall, larger than life, with eyes that seemed to look straight at Nico. He felt a shiver run down his spine. The locals of this planet, who had been watching from a distance, had always told stories about the temple. They called it the home of the Jaguar King, a being of great power who had ruled the lands long ago. Nico remembered their warnings. "No one enters the forbidden chamber," the villagers had said. "It is dangerous, and it tests the courage of those who try." But Nico was not the kind of person to turn away from a challenge. His heart raced with a mix of fear and excitement. The temple was old, but it had a strange energy. It felt alive. He could hear the wind moving through the stones, almost like it was speaking to him. "Should we go in?" Rena asked quietly. Nico nodded. "We came here to explore, and this is what we came for. But we must be careful. Nothing here is ordinary." Omar and Jara moved closer, their eyes scanning the ground and the vines. The air smelled damp and earthy, but there was also a faint metallic scent, like something powerful was hidden inside. Nico stepped forward first, touching the carved stone entrance. His fingers traced the jaguar figure. It felt cold, but strong, like the stone was watching him. The team started to climb the steps slowly, each step echoing in the quiet jungle. Nico felt a strange mix of fear and excitement. The forbidden chamber was close, and he could almost feel it waiting for them. He wondered what secrets it held. Were there treasures, or was it something more? As they reached the top, Nico paused to look back at the jungle behind them. It was beautiful, wild, and full of life, but nothing here compared to what awaited inside the temple. The forbidden chamber was a mystery, and Nico was ready to face it. He took a deep breath, then stepped through the entrance. The air changed immediately. It was cooler and heavier, and the light from outside seemed weaker. Shadows moved along the walls, even though there was no wind. Nico's heart beat faster, but he smiled. This was the moment he had dreamed of, exploring the unknown, discovering something no human had ever seen. And so, Nico and his team entered the temple, unaware that the jungle outside was only the beginning of the adventure. Inside waited puzzles, guardians, and secrets that would test the courage, intelligence, and strength of every human. The forbidden chamber of the Jaguar King had been waiting for them, and the story of humans facing the impossible was about to begin. The moment Nico stepped into the temple, he felt the air change around him. It was cooler and thick with a strange energy that seemed to hum softly. The light from the jungle outside barely reached inside, leaving shadows that danced across the walls. The carved stones glowed faintly, showing jaguar figures in different poses. Each one looked alive, as if it was watching the explorers with quiet curiosity. Rena ran her fingers along the walls, studying the carvings closely. "These designs are incredible," she said. "They are like a language, but I have never seen anything like it. I think they are trying to tell us something." Omar scanned the floor with his flashlight. "And they are very old," he added. "Some of these stones look like they have been here for thousands of years. Whoever built this temple knew what they were doing." Jara moved carefully, her eyes on the shadows. "I feel like we are not alone," she whispered. Her hand rested on the hilt of her tool knife, ready for anything. Nico nodded, feeling the same unease. The temple was beautiful, but it also had a presence, a kind of intelligence that made him pause. He had explored many planets before, but this was different. The temple seemed alive, and it felt like it was waiting for them. The entrance hall was massive. High ceilings arched above them, covered with more jaguar carvings. Some stones had strange symbols, glowing faintly in blue and green. Nico noticed that the floor was not flat. It had shallow lines forming patterns, almost like a map. He pointed to the center. "Look at this. I think the floor itself is a puzzle. Step on the wrong line, and we might trigger something." Rena knelt to examine the patterns more closely. "You might be right," she said. "The symbols are connected. It is like they are guiding our steps, but only if we understand the pattern." Omar tested one line carefully with a small rock. Nothing happened, but the floor felt strange under his fingers. He looked at Nico and nodded. "I think we need to follow the shapes, not just walk randomly. This is more than a floor. It is a test." With slow, careful steps, the team moved forward. Each footfall echoed softly, and the glowing symbols seemed to pulse as they walked. Nico noticed that the carvings on the walls changed slightly as they progressed, showing new jaguar figures in motion. He felt a thrill. The temple was teaching them, guiding them, and testing their minds at the same time. After a while, the passage opened into a larger chamber. The walls here were covered with mosaics of humans and jaguar-like creatures working together. Some were building, some were studying, and some were holding objects that shimmered like crystal. Nico felt awe mixed with curiosity. "These images, they show humans like us," he said. "And they are working with something beyond our knowledge. We are connected to this place in a way we do not understand yet." Rena stepped closer to one mosaic. "It is like a story," she said. "Maybe the Jaguar King was not just a ruler, but a teacher. This chamber is meant to show the wisdom of humans and the bond we can have with knowledge." As they studied the room, a soft sound came from the far corner. It was low and mechanical, a hum that grew louder. Nico raised his hand. "Everyone, stay alert," he said. "Something is coming." From the shadows, A large shape moved. It was a jaguar, but not like any animal Nico had seen. Its body was made of metal and stone, but it moved with grace, almost like it was alive. Its eyes glowed bright gold, and every step it took made the floor vibrate slightly. Jara stepped forward, her voice steady. It is a guardian. It is protecting something inside this temple. Nico studied the mechanical jaguar. Yes, but it is not just dangerous. It is testing us. Watch its movements, and we can learn its pattern. The jaguar circled them slowly, its golden eyes scanning. Nico noticed small patterns in its steps, like it was following a rhythm. He pointed to the floor. Follow me and step carefully. We can move past it if we are smart. With careful timing, the team moved together. Nico led, watching the guardian, and signaling when it paused. Step by step, they navigated the chamber. The jaguar did not attack aggressively, but it blocked wrong moves, reminding them to think before acting. Finally, they reached a small platform at the center of the chamber. The jaguar stepped back and sat, almost as if it had accepted them. Nico felt a rush of relief. We made it, he said quietly. The guardian was a test, and we passed. But I feel like the real challenge is still ahead. Rena smiled, her eyes shining with excitement. This temple is incredible. We are just beginning to understand it. Omar nodded. And whatever is inside the next chamber, it will be something humans have never seen before. We need to be ready. Nico looked at the glowing jaguar and the murals around them. He felt pride in the human spirit, their curiosity, intelligence, and courage. This temple was more than a place. It was a proof that humans could face the unknown and succeed. The forbidden chamber of the Jaguar King was waiting, and Nico knew that their adventure had only just begun. The team stood in the center of the chamber, catching their breath. The mechanical jaguar had returned to its resting place, its golden eyes still glowing faintly. Nico wiped his forehead and looked around. The walls were covered with glowing symbols, moving subtly as if reacting to their presence. The air was heavy but alive, filled with energy that made Nico feel both nervous and excited. This place is incredible, Rena whispered. She traced the lines of a symbol with her finger. It is like the temple knows we are here, and it is testing everything about us, our minds, our courage, and our teamwork. Omar adjusted his backpack. I think the next chamber is where the real test begins. This one was just a warning. That guardian, it was checking if we could think carefully under pressure. Jara nodded, her eyes sharp and alert. I felt it too. Every movement mattered. Every choice counted. This temple is teaching us to observe and act wisely. Nico stepped forward, examining a doorway at the far end of the room. Unlike the entrance they had crossed, this door was covered with dozens of small levers and rotating stones. Each lever had a different shape, some circular, some triangular, and each stone had carvings of jaguar heads. The symbols glowed faintly, like the room was giving them a silent message. This is more than a door, Nico said. It is a puzzle. We have to solve it to go further. Rena crouched to examine the base of the door. Look at the symbols, she said. They seem to form a sequence. If we follow it, maybe the door will open. But if we make a mistake, Omar laughed softly. Then the temple will probably remind us why it is called forbidden. Nico studied the arrangement. The carvings are similar to the ones outside. They tell a story of humans and the Jaguar King. Maybe the solution is not just pushing levers randomly. We need to think about what the story shows. They began working together. Nico and Rena matched the symbols to the story, Omar moved the levers carefully, and Jara observed the door for any movement or change. Each step required focus. A wrong pull might trigger something they could not see. The glowing symbols reacted to each lever, shifting slightly with every correct movement. After several minutes, the final lever clicked into place. A low rumble filled the room. The door slid open slowly, revealing a narrow passage that led deeper into the temple. A cool draft flowed out, carrying the scent of stone and something metallic, as if the chamber beyond was alive with energy. Nico took a deep breath. Good work, everyone. That was not easy. But I have a feeling the next room will be even more challenging. They moved forward cautiously. The passage twisted and turned, and the walls were covered with more jaguar carvings. Some of the jaguar figures seemed to move in the flickering light, their eyes glowing briefly before fading. The team walked in silence, feeling the presence of something greater than themselves. Suddenly, the floor trembled beneath their feet. A low growl echoed through the passage. The mechanical jaguar from before stepped out of the shadows, its eyes blazing brighter than before. This time, it moved faster and with more precision. Jara stepped in front of the team. It is the second test, she said. We need to prove ourselves, not just in thinking, but in action. Nico observed the jaguar carefully. It was not attacking randomly. Each movement had a pattern. Its claws clicked on the stone floor, its tail swished with purpose. He signaled to the team. Watch its steps. We can move between the pauses. Timing is everything. The team followed Nico's lead. They moved slowly, stepping only when the jaguar paused. The metallic beast followed their progress, guiding them toward the center of the chamber. Its golden eyes seemed to judge their courage and focus, testing their ability to stay calm under pressure. Finally, they reached a platform in the middle of the room. The jaguar stopped and lowered its head, as if acknowledging their success. Its eyes dimmed slightly, and it returned to a corner of the room, waiting silently. Rena exhaled and smiled. We made it through the first real test. The temple wants to see if we can act together under pressure. Omar nodded. And we did. Humans are clever and patient. We can solve puzzles, observe patterns, and stay calm when things are dangerous. Nico looked around the chamber. The walls glowed with images of humans and jaguar figures working together. It was clear now that the temple was not just protecting something valuable. It was teaching. It wanted those who entered to prove that humans had intelligence, courage, and cooperation. This temple respects strength, but it respects wisdom even more, Nico said. We need to keep using our minds, our eyes, and our teamwork. The real challenge is still ahead, but I believe we can handle it. The team moved toward a staircase carved into the far wall. Light shimmered faintly from above, inviting them forward. Nico led the way, feeling a mixture of fear and excitement. Every step brought them closer to the heart of the temple, to the mysteries of the forbidden chamber. As they climbed, Nico thought about what lay ahead. Guardians, puzzles, and secrets awaited. But more importantly, the temple was showing them what humans were capable of. The Jaguar King had left these challenges for a reason. It was a test of the human spirit, of courage, intelligence, and unity. And Nico knew that he and his team were ready to face whatever came next. The forbidden chamber of the Jaguar King had already begun to reveal its lessons, and the adventure was only beginning. The staircase led the team into a wide chamber, unlike any they had seen before. The walls glowed with a soft golden light, and the floor was a mosaic of colored stones forming geometric patterns. The air felt alive, as if the temple itself was breathing. Nico took a careful step forward and stopped. The patterns on the floor shifted slightly under their weight, as if reacting to their presence. This room feels different, Rena said. She knelt to touch the floor. It is like the temple is alive here. Every step we take matters. Omar studied the patterns closely. These stones form shapes, lines, and circles. I think this is another puzzle, but bigger than the last one. We need to figure out the rules before we move too far. Jara pointed to the walls. Look at the jaguar carvings. Some have their eyes glowing brighter than others. Maybe they are giving us clues. Nico nodded. We need to pay attention to everything: the floor, the walls, even the light. This is not just a physical challenge. It is a test of observation and reasoning. They began to study the floor together. The colored stones formed repeating patterns, and some seemed to respond when they stepped on neighboring stones. Nico realized that the patterns were not random. They were a sequence that needed to be followed carefully. Step only on the stones that change when we touch the others, Nico suggested. That seems to be the key. Rena tested the sequence by stepping lightly on the first few stones. The pattern glowed brighter, confirming that she had started correctly. It is like a path, she said. We have to follow it exactly or the temple will not let us pass. Omar and Jara joined her, moving slowly, observing which stones responded. Each correct step caused the glowing lines to form a pathway forward. Each wrong step made the stones dim and vibrate, warning them to be more careful. As they advanced, the glowing jaguar carvings on the walls shifted. Some crouched, some leaped, and some stretched their paws forward. It was like the chamber was alive, moving in harmony with the floor patterns. Nico realized that the carvings were a guide, showing them the correct sequence through motion. This temple teaches with symbols and movement, Nico said. We need to watch, think, and act carefully. This is what the Jaguar King wanted. The team continued forward, step by step. Their trust in each other grew as they coordinated their movements. Nico called out instructions, Rena followed, Omar tested stones for reaction, and Jara kept an eye on the glowing jaguars. Together, they moved like one mind, each step bringing them closer to the heart of the chamber. Suddenly, a section of the floor shifted under their feet. A hidden panel rose, revealing a deep pit below. The glowing stones formed a bridge only if they stepped in the right order. One wrong step would make the stones sink back, forcing them to start again. Watch the symbols carefully, Nico warned. They tell us the order. The team paused, observing the jaguar carvings. The carved figures leaped in a rhythm, almost like a dance. Each leap corresponded to a stone in the pattern. Rena counted the movements silently, translating them into the sequence of steps. Now, Nico called. They moved together, stepping on the correct stones, following the rhythm. The stones glowed under their feet, forming a glowing bridge across the pit. The carvings watched silently, approving their progress. Halfway across, Omar paused. We have to keep going slowly. One mistake and we start again. Jara nodded. We can do it if we stay focused. Trust the pattern and trust each other. They continued, moving carefully, matching their steps to the leaping jaguars. The pit seemed endless, but the team's confidence grew. Every correct step lit the next one, guiding them forward. Nico felt a thrill of excitement. This was the heart of the temple's lesson: humans could solve problems, think strategically, and work together. Finally, they reached the other side. The glowing stones dimmed, the carvings became still, and the room seemed to sigh with approval. Nico smiled. We made it. The temple tested our minds, our focus, and our teamwork. We passed. Rena looked around in awe. This is amazing. Every challenge teaches us something. The Jaguar King left these puzzles not to trap people, but to see who is worthy. Omar touched one of the carvings gently. The temple respects those who think and act wisely. We are learning from it with every step. Jara pointed toward the far wall. Look there. There is another door. I think the final chamber is beyond it. That is where the true secrets lie. Nico nodded. We will face the next challenge together. We have proven ourselves so far, but the heart of the forbidden chamber awaits. The Jaguar King left this for humans who are brave, clever, and united. We are ready to discover what comes next. With careful steps, the team moved toward the final door of the chamber. Each felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. They knew the greatest challenge of the temple was close, but they also knew they had grown stronger together. The forbidden chamber of the Jaguar King was testing more than strength or courage. It was testing the human spirit itself, and they were ready to continue their journey. The team approached the final door of the chamber. It was larger than any door they had seen before, carved from a single piece of dark stone, with jaguar symbols etched deeply into its surface. The carvings glowed faintly, pulsing as if the temple itself was aware of their presence. Nico reached out and touched the cold surface, feeling a vibration under his fingertips. "This is it," Nico said. "Beyond this door lies the heart of the forbidden chamber. The Jaguar King's greatest secret is waiting for us." Rena knelt to study the symbols on the door. "The carvings are moving," she said. "They form a pattern. I think this is another puzzle. We need to solve it to open the door." Omar examined the carvings closely. Each jaguar seems to point in a direction or hold a symbol. "Maybe we need to follow a sequence, like before, but more complex." Jaguar stepped forward. "Look at the walls. There are smaller carvings that mirror the door. They may be giving us hints." The Jaguar King did not want anyone to enter easily. The team studied the symbols carefully. The jaguars on the door shifted positions, their eyes glowing in a sequence. Nico realized the pattern matched the carvings on the walls. "We need to move these levers in the same sequence," he said. "It is like a dance. Each step leads to the next." They began working together, moving levers and observing the carvings. The door vibrated slightly with each correct action. The team held their breath, knowing a single mistake could trigger a trap. Every lever they pulled required concentration and teamwork, but they moved steadily forward. After several tense minutes, the final lever clicked into place. The carvings on the door glowed brightly, and the massive stone slowly began to slide open. Beyond the door was a grand chamber, filled with golden light. The walls sparkled with jewels, and at the center stood a statue of a jaguar, larger than life, with eyes that seemed almost alive. The statue's eyes glowed, and a deep, calm voice echoed through the chamber. "Humans who enter my chamber, you have shown intelligence, courage, and unity. You have passed the tests that prove your worth." The team froze. They had expected a challenge, but not a voice that spoke directly to them. Nico stepped forward. "We are honored to be here," he said. "We have learned from the temple, and we respect the Jaguar King's wisdom." The statue's eyes brightened. "Many have entered these chambers seeking treasure, but few have understood the lessons. This chamber is not for gold or jewels. It is for knowledge, for those who can use it wisely." Rena looked around in awe. The temple is alive. It teaches, observes, and rewards understanding, not greed. Omar walked carefully toward the statue. "We have seen the puzzles, the guardians, and the challenges. Everything is a test. We understand now that the true treasure is the knowledge and growth we gain from these trials." The statue lowered its head slightly, as if acknowledging their words. "You have proven yourselves. The secrets of the Jaguar King are now open to you. Take what you need, not for selfish gain, but to guide and protect your people. The wisdom you gain here will help humans in ways you cannot yet imagine." Nico stepped closer to the statue and reached out his hand. As he did, a soft golden light filled the room, flowing from the jaguar statue into the team. Images flashed before their eyes, maps of distant lands, symbols of ancient knowledge, and visions of future possibilities. They felt understanding grow within them, as if the temple had shared centuries of wisdom in moments. Rena gasped. "This is incredible. We can see the history, the secrets of the temple, and the lessons the Jaguar King wanted to teach." Omar nodded. "This knowledge is more valuable than any treasure. It will guide us in our journey, and in helping others." Jaguar smiled. "The temple has trusted us. We must honor it by using this wisdom carefully, for the benefit of many." The voice of the Jaguar King echoed once more. Remember, humans, strength alone is not enough. Intelligence, courage, and unity define true power. Go forth and share what you have learned. Protect knowledge, respect life, and act with wisdom. The golden light faded slowly, leaving the chamber bathed in a calm glow. The statue of the Jaguar remained, silent and majestic, but its eyes no longer glowed. The team felt a sense of peace and accomplishment. They had faced the forbidden chamber, solved its puzzles, and understood its lessons. Nico looked at his teammates. We have succeeded because we worked together. The temple tested us, but it also guided us. Now, we carry the Jaguar King's wisdom with us. Rina smiled. Every challenge prepared us for this moment. We understand the true meaning of the forbidden chamber. Omar added, this knowledge is not just for us. It is for everyone we meet. We have a responsibility now. Jaro looked toward the exit. The adventure continues, but we are stronger and wiser. The Jaguar King has shown us the path, and we will follow it with respect and courage. The team turned toward the path that led out of the chamber, feeling a new sense of purpose. The forbidden chamber had revealed its secrets, and the lessons they learned would guide them forever. They had entered as explorers seeking mystery, and they left as guardians of knowledge, ready to face the future with courage, intelligence, and unity. The team stepped out of the final chamber with a mix of relief and excitement. The golden light of the Jaguar King's chamber faded behind them, leaving the tunnels of the temple dim but calm. They moved carefully, knowing the temple still held mysteries and challenges. Every step seemed heavier now, not from fear but from the knowledge they carried. Nico led the group through the winding passageways. We must stay focused, he said. The temple may be quiet, but it is never without purpose. We need to watch for traps or surprises. Rina nodded, holding a small torch to illuminate the walls. Shadows danced across the ancient stone, revealing carvings of jaguars, humans, and unknown creatures. These walls tell stories, she said. Every symbol, every shape has meaning. We can learn more if we pay attention. Omar studied the ceiling. The stones above us look uneven. Some might be loose. Let's be careful not to trigger anything. Jara kept her eyes on the tunnels ahead. The temple wants us to succeed, but it still tests us. We learned a lot inside, but we cannot forget the lessons now. Teamwork and observation are key. As they walked, a faint rumble echoed through the passages. The team froze. The temple shifted slightly, like it was alive. Dust fell from the ceiling, and the walls seemed to hum with energy. Nico held up his hand. Stay calm. Let's watch carefully and move slowly. The temple is giving us a new challenge. Suddenly, the floor beneath them shifted. A narrow section of the path collapsed, forming a deep gap. The team froze at the edge, staring down at the dark chasm below. Nico looked at the gap and then at the walls. The temple is testing our strategy now. We must find a way across without rushing. Rina examined the edge. There are ledges along the walls. We can use them to cross carefully. But we must move together and watch each other's steps. Omar smiled. We practiced this before. We can do it if we trust each other and stay focused. They began to move along the ledges, carefully placing their feet and using their hands to steady themselves. Nico went first, checking each step. Rina followed, then Omar, and finally Jara. The ledges were narrow, and one misstep could have been dangerous, but their teamwork guided them safely across. Halfway across, a low rumble shook the temple again. Rocks fell from above, and the team ducked instinctively. Nico reached out and grabbed a loose rock, holding it steady so it would not fall. We must remain alert. The temple is reminding us that knowledge and caution are as important as courage. Once they reached the other side, the team paused to catch their breath. The rumbling stopped, and the tunnels were calm again. We did it, Rina said. The temple wanted to see if we could apply what we learned. We did, together. Omar looked around. This temple is more than puzzles and traps. It shapes us. It tests our minds and hearts. Jaguar smiled. The Jaguar King's lessons are not just in the chambers. They are everywhere in the temple. We must continue to pay attention until we leave. As they continued, they noticed faint markings on the walls, tiny symbols that glowed when touched. Nico examined them. These markings form a path. I think they are guiding us toward the exit. The temple respects our success and now leads us out safely, but we must still follow carefully. They followed the glowing path, moving through twisting tunnels, climbing small ledges, and stepping over uneven stones. Occasionally, a small puzzle appeared, a stone that needed to be pressed in a certain order, or a lever that required timing. Each challenge reminded them of the lessons inside the forbidden chamber. Finally, after what felt like hours, the passage widened. The faint light of the outside world appeared ahead, growing brighter with every step. The team felt a wave of relief and accomplishment. They had faced the temple's greatest tests, survived its dangers, and learned its wisdom. Nico stopped at the exit, looking back at the temple. We entered seeking secrets and adventure. We leave with knowledge, courage, and unity. The Jaguar King's chamber has changed us. Rina stepped into the sunlight, feeling the warmth on her face. We worked together, trusted each other, and learned from the temple. We can take these lessons anywhere. Omar stretched and smiled. The temple was alive, and it tested us in every way. We passed because we stayed calm, observant, and united. Jaro looked at the mountains and forests beyond the temple. This is only the beginning. The knowledge we carry will guide us and help others. We are stronger now because of what we faced. The team stood together, looking at the temple one last time. It was silent and majestic, resting atop the mountain like a guardian of ancient wisdom. The challenges, the puzzles, and the lessons were complete. They had proven themselves to the Jaguar King's chamber and to each other. Nico smiled. The temple will always be here, waiting for others who are ready. We leave not as explorers seeking adventure, but as guardians of knowledge, courage, and wisdom. Rina, Omar, and Jara nodded in agreement. They turned toward the path that led down the mountain, carrying the lessons of the forbidden chamber in their hearts. The sun shone brightly, signaling the start of a new journey. They had faced the temple's tests, survived its dangers, and learned its secrets. Now, they were ready for whatever the world would challenge them with next. The forbidden chamber of the Jaguar King had shared its wisdom, and the team stepped forward into a future filled with possibility, unity, and purpose. The team descended the mountain slowly, each step filled with the quiet strength that came from their experiences in the temple. The sunlight warmed their faces, but their minds were focused on the lessons they had learned. The Jaguar King's wisdom was now part of them, guiding their thoughts, decisions, and understanding of the world. Nico led the group through the forest at the mountain's base. Birds sang, and leaves rustled gently in the wind. Everything seemed peaceful, yet the team knew challenges could appear anywhere. The temple had taught them to remain alert, to value teamwork, and to use intelligence and courage together. As they walked, a distant roar echoed through the trees. The sound was powerful and frightening, yet it did not seem angry. Nico raised his hand to signal the team to stop. We must observe carefully. The Jaguar King's wisdom reminds us that danger is part of the world. We must understand it before reacting. Rina pointed toward the sound. Look. There is a clearing ahead. Something is moving there. We should approach slowly and see what it is. Omar crouched low, examining the path. The temple taught us that observation is as important as action. Let's stay quiet and watch. The team moved forward with care. As they entered the clearing, they saw a young jaguar trapped between fallen branches. The animal struggled but could not free itself. Its eyes shone with fear, yet there was also trust, as if it sensed the team's good intentions. Jara whispered, "We cannot leave it here. The Jaguar King taught us to respect life and to use our wisdom to help others. This is our chance to apply what we learned." Nico knelt near the jaguar and examined the branches. "We need a plan. Strength alone is not enough. We must use intelligence and work together." Rina nodded. "Omar, help me lift the larger branches. Jara, keep the jaguar calm with soft movements. Nico, guide us so we do not hurt the animal or ourselves." The team worked in perfect coordination. Omar and Rina lifted carefully, testing each branch to ensure it would not snap. Jara spoke softly to the jaguar, keeping it calm and focused on her voice. Nico directed their actions, making sure every movement was precise and safe. After 10 minutes, the final branch was lifted. The jaguar stepped out cautiously, looking at the team with wide, intelligent eyes. It circled them once, rubbing its head against Nico's leg as if in gratitude. Then, it turned and disappeared into the forest, moving with grace and strength. The team exhaled together, smiling with relief. "We did it," Rina said. "This is exactly what the Jaguar King wanted us to understand. Wisdom and courage are most powerful when used to protect life." Omar added, "Every challenge we faced in the temple prepared us for this. Strength alone would not have helped. We needed teamwork, observation, and careful thinking." Jaro looked toward the forest where the jaguar had disappeared. "The temple taught us lessons, but real tests happen in the world outside. Today, we applied that knowledge, and we succeeded." As they continued their journey, the forest gradually opened into a wide valley. Villages lay below, with people tending to fields and children playing near streams. The team felt the weight of responsibility settle on their shoulders. They carried knowledge, courage, and wisdom that could help others. Nico turned to the group. "We have a choice. We can keep this wisdom for ourselves, or we can share it. The Jaguar King trusted us, and now we must honor that trust." Rina nodded. "We will share what we learned. Not as teachers, but as guides. People will face challenges, and we can help them think, act wisely, and work together." Omar smiled. "The lessons of the temple are not just puzzles or trials. They are tools for life. Courage, intelligence, unity, and respect for life, these are gifts we can give to everyone we meet." Jara added, "Our adventure with the Jaguar King is complete, but our journey has only begun. We will carry the temple's wisdom with us wherever we go. We will face the world as guardians, ready to help, protect, and guide." As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the valley, the team paused at the edge of a hill. They looked back toward the mountain, where the temple rested in quiet majesty. Its walls were silent, yet its lessons were alive in their hearts. They had faced its challenges, solved its puzzles, and earned its wisdom. Nico smiled, feeling the strength of their unity. "The forbidden chamber of the Jaguar King has changed us. We are ready to face whatever comes next. Together, we can overcome anything, and we will help others do the same." Rina, Omar, and Jara nodded, standing side by side. They felt the weight of knowledge, the thrill of adventure, and the peace of understanding. The journey through the temple had ended, but the lessons they learned would guide them forever. With determination and hope, the team descended into the valley, ready to share the Jaguar King's wisdom with the world. They had entered as explorers, seeking adventure and mystery, and they left as guardians, protectors, and guides. The temple had given them knowledge, courage, and unity. Now, it was their responsibility to carry it forward. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with colors of hope and promise. The forbidden chamber had tested them, taught them, and transformed them. The Jaguar King's legacy lived on through their actions, their choices, and the wisdom they would share with others. Together, they stepped into the future, strong, united, and ready for every challenge, carrying the spirit of the Jaguar King in their hearts forever.